Hello everyone and welcome back to Bandai Product and Figure Review, and in this episode we are going to be doing a cool product review. I've been meaning to do this one, and especially adding this into one of my panels that I do at a local convention, and this is something that is going to help out with getting really nice displays for your models, and that is literally display stands, or in this case Bandai's Action Base sets. And the ones that we are going to be looking at today are Action Set 6, 7, and 8. And there is a actual special one with number 7, which we will get into that later in the episode. And so what we're going to be doing is looking at each one of these really cool action bases, and these are part of the brand new line that has just started coming out in 2022. So these are really nice bases, and these are the ones that I'm always hyped to see in some of the new model kits that are been coming out. So let's take a deep dive and actually put a couple of these together and see how well they actually hold for some of the models. So let's roll opening and take a look at Bandai's Action Base series. Like I said, we are going to be looking at these action bases, and the ones we're going to be looking at is number 6, 7, and number 8. Though number 7 actually has a lot of interesting features, especially it has a second one, but with a mirrored sticker. So we will actually take a look at that as well, and we will be putting these together. So let's start off with the first one right here, and this is the more iconic one that we are going to be most likely what you're going to be wanting to get. And as we can see, it holds the 30-minute mission girls pretty well, as well as the 30-minute mission figures. So these do really good for the 1/44th scale model kits or the high grade level model kits. And as we can see, it does give us a little bit of parts and stuff like that. So let's actually open this up and take a look at what comes inside. So like I was saying, this is basically gives us the instructions at the back of here. So these are fairly easy instructions, and the lovely thing this actually does is give us 2, so we can actually do some really cool posabilities, especially with more models that are a little bit don't actually have a peg system. So again, I've been looking at getting a few more of these, which I managed to actually procure some, especially that I've noticed that are coming in a lot of the newer model kits that have a little bit more oomph to them. So let's actually take a look at actually how all of this is put together. So let's do a quick little build. Basically, you want a pair of nippers, maybe a knife just to help out. And so what we are going to do is already start clipping out the base, and they're just snips right out just like that. It's a little bit on a thicker plastic, so and they do really nice with doing a nice little cleanup. So that's basically the bottom of the base. And the nice thing is we actually have 3, or I should say 4 holes if I can count right. So we have 4 holes that we can actually do to do our put our stand when it's actually all connected. And since this does give us the option of doing 2 of these, it does give us 2 different types of peg holders and or arms with how we can actually hold the model kit. So again, we can just snip these right in half, and that's the lovely thing that you can break it up, and it gives us all the pieces for what we need for one, and it does give us all the pieces for the other, but it does actually give us several duplicates. So I do kind of like that. So let's start with getting everything that we need, and we just snip snip. In all honesty, these are actually really nice compared to some of the other ones. But again, these don't seem like they could hold a lot of weight for some of the more heavier models. So, like the picture depicted, this is more for some of the more lighter particular model kits, such as the 30-minute mission and 30-minute sister kits. But you can pretty much use this for any 1/44 scale model kit, as long as it's not too heavy. And there we go. And lastly, we have these nice little grippers here, so we'll just set that right there. And now we can see that there's a little kind of a nub right there. Let's try to get that into focus a little bit. So there's a nub like right in here. Again, apologies for the blurriness, but you can see there's a little notch right here, and then there's a notch right here. And so we just want to match those into that place, and they just nicely slide in. And now we actually have a nice little lock joint. And so this is getting to start for our first thing. And so we want to make sure we get the right ones to fit in here, because there are several of these pegs. For instance, here, this one will not actually fit in here, but this is actually meant for some of the bigger Action Base sets. So that's really nice that they include that with this particular series, just in case if you do want to use this particular arm mechanism, you can actually just attach it to whatever side you need. But since we're working with our small little stands here, we wanted to use the appropriate size peg, and as we can see, this is the one that will just go, snaps in just like that, and then it fits in all four of these different ones. And there we go, and we just line it up again, and we want to push it in the opposite direction than what we had for it to lock, for it doesn't actually slide out. So there we go, and now we have our stand semi completed. All we have to do is now get our last piece on here, and we have a couple options on what to do for that. But our main piece is going to be this right here. Again, we do the same thing, line it up, snap it into place, and it will pop just like that. And now we can actually just assemble our stand just like that. And now we can actually hold a model fairly well. And this is actually the part that is kind of cool about these, is like I was saying, we actually have another piece somewhere here, and we can actually start attaching them into its spot as well. So we want to make sure we line up the pieces. These can actually take a little bit of time to find the right gap or the right piece in here. So, and there we go, that's how that piece goes together. Again, I apologize for how long that took, but that's how this goes on here. And this is the part that I actually do like about this, is they actually can just slide right into there. And because we actually have two of these, we can actually do both, one with and one without the little gripper peg here. So that's actually really cool that they give us the option, and then we can just put our model right on here. So that's actually this particular one. So let's actually take a look at the Action Base set number 7. So Action Base number 7 is basically a bigger version of the Action Base number 6. So it does have a wider base plate. So let's actually open this up and take a look. And as we can see, this is giving us the same kind of concept of split, where everything that we need is on each runner. And as we can see from here, it is much bigger than what the Action Base 6. So this can actually hold fairly well for a lot larger, or giving us a little bit more room for dynamic poses, as we kind of see with the instruction manual here. It does give us a nice little mirror finish for this. So there are two versions, one with a mirror and one without a mirror. So we're working with the ones that actually have a mirror just to see how all that looks. And as we can see, it does look like it's going to be really nice, and it does look like it goes on fairly well. And again, we have our basic instructions. It shows us the step-by-step for what we actually need to do. So let's do a quick speed build and see what this all looks like combined. And there we go. This took a little bit more time to actually put together than what I thought. So this was a very interesting concept where it did end up I was having a real interesting time trying to figure out that these two pieces actually slide together to make one solid piece. So that's very unique, and that does help and answer the question, like, how structural integrity is this going to be? And so it's going to be where it doesn't flex or bend. So that was kind of an interesting concept. And again, this is similar to like how some of the earlier ones where it has a wheel pivot. So like how the some of the other action bases were, but it fits perfectly right in here. And as we can see, it does give us a nice little range for posability, as we can see here. But there's still one more step that I wanted to do, and that is actually how we put the silver plate on. So let's take a look and see how that actually puts on together. And as we can see, this is very, very reflective. So it's a nice chrome. It's basically a nice mirror finish, as you can see. It's a nice mirror. So it just peels off. And the lovely thing is, it's like, I thought that was going to be paper thin. No, this is really hard cardstock on here. So I'm really impressed with that. And it does say the mirror sticker for the base, and it looks like it just goes right on top. So we want to try and line this hole up with this hole. So you could almost use your little peg here to give you a nice little line up for that, actually. So that could help a little bit with lining that up to make sure it stays into place, because again, you don't know how many times you get when you have these stickers. As you can see, I just kind of failed that first time, so I'm just trying to make sure I line this up. So and there we go. I managed to line it up to the best of my ability to get it within that, and that's a lovely, nice little mirror right there. And then we can actually just put our peg right here, and now we can actually put a figure on here. And let's just use, like, I could just use a little paint thing, and we can actually see like the paint being nicely reflected and all that. You can see everything. So when I put a model on here, it's going to look really nice. Now moving on to Action Base number 8, and this is going to be the largest one here, and I may need some extra tools unless it does come with it. And this is going to be a much larger base, and as we can see, it does give us a nice little display for on here, or graphic. It says to choose the best plate for your model kit. And like I said, this is our 6, 7, and 8. So this is a monster of a base. So let's actually crack this bad boy up and put this together. So unlike all the other ones that we came across, this is the only one that actually comes with a single base. So we don't have any duplicates of this. That would have been really cool, but usually with a size like this, yeah, usually it makes sense. You just don't have enough room for packaging to put all of these in here. So this is going to be one for our larger model kits. And looking at the instructions, we do actually have several of the pieces that we need, and it looks like it is going to be a Allen wrench we are going to need. So going forward, we may need an Allen wrench. So this is actually going to be pretty cool because this is going to give us a lot of interesting posability for our figure. So let's start popping this sucker together. All right, now that we have all our pieces cut out, now we can actually start putting the arm together. And by exploring this, I found out what these actually are meant for. And these are to help with screwing the pieces in, which this is actually something I did not expect, because as I was looking in the instructions, that's exactly what these are meant for. So you actually have several spares, just in case. I bet if you break one, you have a couple of options to fix it up. So let's start putting these really cool things together. And knowing how this was with the previous ones, we actually do have a hexagonic, so we can just take one of our hexagonic pieces and we can just slide it right into place. Holding your finger on the bottom, we can now take our screw. Whoop, that does tend to slide out, so we want to make sure that we have all our pieces nicely secure, and then we can just screw this right into place just like that, and use your finger to keep that nice and flush, and then we can just screw that in until it's nice and tight, but still enough where we can actually still manipulate this. So we can just kind of undo that, and now it is flexible enough where we can actually work on what we want for our figure. So we'll most likely have it tight right here, so we can just go back in and tighten it up. And now we have our first part of this taken care of. Now we can start moving on to the other arm or leg here. So it's the two smaller pieces, so they're just going to combine like that. So yep, it's just going to go like that. Take another hexagonic piece, take another screw, pop that back in, grab our little makeshift tool. And this is actually pretty cool that Bandai actually gave us some tools to come with this without having to go out and get like an Allen wrench or something like that they just stick in and we can just tighten them into place. So I really find that really creative on how they did that. So now we have our last piece right here, and that's just going to go slide like right here. And now we just put our another hexagonic piece, take one of our screws, pop that in, grab our makeshift screwdriver, and we just tighten that into place. And boom, there we go. And now we have still one more, because we still have one more set. And this is going to be really interesting, but it's going to be really simple. And this is all completed. This is kind of giving me flashbacks of like how some of the earlier action bases for the 144th and 1100, where you actually had to screw pieces together, but they did not come with a screwdriver. So you actually had to have a small like Phillips screwdriver compared to like how these are, which I actually come on, get in the hole. Yeah, it's just lining these up. It can be a kind of a challenge. Let's just pop that screw down there for a moment, and I want to do a quick check. Yeah, that does go through. So just slide there, and just, I guess we're just gonna have to kind of wiggle that in there, and just, there we go. We can pop that on there, and grab our tool, and now we can just There we go. Get that nicely in there. And thus we have our arm put together. And so this is going to be fairly interesting, but this is more for like a kind of a bottom part for this. So this is going to be very interesting, but this is going to be more for heavier figures, as we can see here, but it does give us several options of what we can do. And this is where a lot of pieces come in here. So now we have a fairly good sized peg hole, so which gives us the option of having two different types depending on which type of direction we want to go. So we can have pieces like that that connects to like the back, or what we're going to most likely do is going to use it for the small peg piece right here, and that piece just goes like right into here. And so that's just how that stand goes together. So this is actually looking really nice, and so we can do kind of a size comparison with all three of our stands that we have. And thus these are all our stands. So let's actually take a look and see what these all look like with an actual figure on board. So let's go to the display table. And there we have it. These are what the action bases look like and what type of models you can actually put on there. And as we can see, they fit really well for the 30-minute sister, the 30-minute mission, and even some of the larger, heavier model kits. And this is where this particular stand was really designed for. This one here for the Action Base 8 that can handle a lot of the bigger suits of armor like this. But as you can see, they do hold fairly well for floating in mid-air to do really cool action poses, as you can see with my little fairy mage concept. And it looks really nice. It gives that extra little flair with that action base, and especially with this one that's coming up here, can hold a little bit heavier model. This is one of the more elaborate ones that I kind of have for this, just to showcase the mirror aspect that you can see there. They can show the under portion of whatever model, and this is the large one right here. And yeah, these are really phenomenal stands, and I definitely highly recommend getting some of these to help out with your Gundam or model displays. And as long as it fits that 3mm or 4mm peg hole, it will work with most Gundams and any Bandai product. Alright everyone, that's going to conclude this review over the Gundam Action Base 6 through 8. And these did not let down. They did take a little bit longer for at least the last one to put together. Again, it's been a while since I've actually had to, work on the proper articulation and direction, so it was a little more complicated, but I do like how well everything was built. And I highly recommend getting these, and these are perfect for all of your Gundams, 30-minute mission, 30-second sister kits, a whole bunch of other stuff, and also the larger scales especially, you can put different types of things. So you could do cars, models, different types of things that could easily fit on these trays. I wish they would do a mirror version for this, because with how big this stand is, you could definitely put like maybe a car or something on top of this. But I definitely like the customization that you are able to do, especially with at least 6 and 7 gives you 2 action bases for the price of 1. So that's really nice, which helps out with you have a multiple of those. Like I have that whole line of 30-minute mission girls right there that are desperately wanting more little stands, so I'll probably be buying a whole bunch more to be able to properly display them. So if you guys like this type of content, please like and subscribe. I do read those comments, and I just want to do a quick shout out to the fact that we have over 350 subscribers. So thank you everyone that has subscribed and are watching these videos. If you have future ideas, please definitely leave those down in the comment section down below. And until then, I will see you guys in the next episode.